husbandry?
Okay, well, husbandry. The motivation for starting this project of the husbandry school, one motivation came from an old teacher of mine who was a traditional Devon farmer, old-fashioned type, and I worked as a general farm worker with him in the 1970s, from 75 onwards, and he taught me basics of agriculture. He taught me how to drive a tractor, milk a cow, and plough a field and all that sort of stuff, and he was a very influential man for me. In 2003 he died, and what happened was that in losing him, it felt to me like he was the last of an old-fashioned traditional breed of Devon husbandmen who had something much more than farming in their blood. They had the love of the land. They had the love of looking after everything in the land, the soil, the stones, the waste wood, everything. He was an ecological manager, is how you would say it now, although he wouldn't sort of use those words. And I started. I wanted him not to be forgotten, so I wanted to write his biography. So I went up and visited his family, and talked to them about him, and I did some research in the Exeter Records Office. Now, fortunately, his farm was particularly well documented because it was part of a big Lord of the Manor estate, and I came across references to husbandry from his farm. There was a lease from 1722 which detailed all the acts of husbandry that the tenant had to abide by. And there was an apprentice. What was particularly interesting to me was there was an apprenticeship document from 1742, which a young boy, John Broom, was tied as an apprentice to the farm where I worked for 14 years, from the age of 10 to 24, and he was taught the trade of husbandry. He was then given his freedom at 24 with 2 new suits of clothes, one for holy days and one for work days, incidentally. But that gave me an insight into the long tradition of husbandry that had been going on. This is our English indigenous culture, and it's nearly dead. It's nearly died out. And in honour of Walter Edwards, who's the farmer who taught me, we want to pass on to anybody who will hear us some of these principles of what husbandry is about. It's about not only making nature produce what we want it to do, but it's to do with looking after the waste that we don't want, that is also part of nature. It's us. Husbandry is I feel it's the highest form of humanity. It's us as humans being in charge within the boundaries of what we have to look after and the boundaries of our capabilities, but being in charge of nature, getting nature to do what we want it to do, and at the same time caring for all of it as if it's our family, the earthworms, the soil. And this is, I'm not very good at husbandry, but this is a place. The husbandry school is a place where we can all learn about this, I feel, most important way of being a human being.
There's respect and responsibility.
There is respect and responsibility.
Well,
Yes, it's I mean, this husbandry school is in one way is an act of respect for the traditional husbandry that has been passed on to us from, well, it's been passed on to me from Walter, but is in fact every human being in Devon, every human being in England has as their ancestors people who practiced husbandry, and it's our collective inheritance from our ancestors that is so vital, I feel, to go forward in the 21st century and look after this planet as we're meant to look after it, as we can, as it is our responsibility to.
And that responsibility to all the life forms within the boundaries. I mean, you're taking, but you're also giving back.
You're taking and you're giving back. The word husbandry comes from the sort of Old English roots, house and boundary. And house simply means the place that you inhabit. So it's inhabiting nature within the boundaries, physical boundaries of hedges and ditches, but also the boundaries of our capabilities. I feel it's such a useful joining concept. Husbandry is a useful joining concept that joins the environmental movement, the green movement that wants to look after nature, but also the controlling nature of human beings. We are the top dogs. We are the head of the food chain, and it's us who are responsible to control nature within our capabilities, to use nature's forces to our benefit. And I believe just husbandry is such a, it's a neglected old-fashioned word, but it's a word that's time is about to come, I think.
The responsibility, taking responsibility and control. In the old days, it's the predators that took control and then you give them back.
In the old days, it's the predators.
Take.
Yeah.
Whereas the people that tended the land, the crops, they continually took that responsibility to. They saw it was valuable. In order to survive, they had to maintain the environment.
Yeah.
And that's what led to.
I think perhaps some of the top predators do take a little bit of that. I mean, lions in Africa take a little bit of responsibility in some ways of looking after the whole ecology that feeds them. And I think humans, it's
human predators, kings,
Kings,
yeah.
Human predators, yeah.
Conquerors, the people that come in and live on horses and move from territory to territory and just conquer and rape and pillage.
Yeah.
It's taken.
Yeah.
There's an English historian from London has just published a book and he refers to them as predators and you go, wow, he's right.
Yeah.
They're really about taking, they're not building into the environment, what you're talking about, and I think that's it.
Well, I think all of us have got both sides of that of that nature within us. I mean, I take. I'm greedy and take what you can when you can as well, and it's like, yeah, it's a learning process to learn to be bigger than just a predator
and to give back. And you feel responsible to give back. You're doing that. You're putting it into action.
Yeah. Well, but we're making efforts in that direction. Yeah. I mean, it's
a big effort.
I mean, it's early days now. I mean, we've only started this project. It was 2 green fields that we bought from the farmer, and more that we've rented this field here, which we've got on an agricultural tenancy. The farmer who used to look after this died about 9 years ago, and it's been rather neglected since he died. And we've got the privilege to.
How do you look after that?
Well, how we look after that? First of all, we have to put some fences to keep the livestock in. So we built some fences along here. Well, we've built 1 kilometre of fences all the way round,
Not around, it's down.
it's round and down, yeah. And we've started stocking it. We've got 40 ewes and 30 lambs now, so we've got 70 sheep altogether. And we will gradually build up the sheep. Carol particularly wants some goats, so we're going to get some goats in as well, who love eating the brambles and the gorse.
They do that.
So it's using the ecology to help you manage it. So we use the sheep and the pigs and the goats, which we can graze on that, and that will gradually improve the land. And eventually it could be terraced with vines growing on it. You know, there's no limit to how well we can do husbandry. It's the sky. You know, we can make terraces with gardens on them, but it'll take a while.